small artisan groups creating cottage industries, the opposite of factories, centered on women because it was clear that keeping extended families alive was in their hands. Rising International is a testament to that movement. But at the time, I didn't know any of this. I found inspiration in my memories of India and Mexico, where entire villages were employed, making their towns trademark pottery or sculpture, silverwork, or weavings that the rest of the world came to buy. Yet Lagunov is different from Mexico or India, with a plethora of resources and centuries of aesthetic traditions. Art is made everywhere humans are, but it flourishes in times of relative peace, relative security, regular food. Unlike other artisan projects, we didn't have a long artistic tradition to tap because Haiti is a slave diaspora. Like the rest of the Caribbean islands, all the way to Brazil, there would be no populations of African descent if not for thousands of kidnapped Africans brought to serve as human machinery for the colonies. Beyond utilitarian or spiritual objects, the enslaved don't have the time, energy, or permission to develop extravagant visual arts. The main art of Haiti's ancestors was a blend of memory and outrage, embedded in dance, drumming, sophisticated ritual, and storytelling. And compared to India and Africa's eons of existence, Haiti's a newly forged culture. There is a history of how Haiti unenslaved itself and what happened to it later in the exploitive hands of world commerce. But the arts revolution that first brought me to Haiti didn't explode until the 1930s in Port-au-Prince, ignited by a single American soldier who passed out some brushes and house paint. So I left Matanois for the first time, fevered by the burn of one community's desire to express something visually and individually, but with no idea how to help give it form. Some of you know what it's like on coming back from a country like Haiti to stand in an American supermarket in a state of thrall and appall, watching the misters glisten up the artesian lettuce and staring down an aisle of pet food. Repeated culture shock comes with the job. But it was in one of these places that I chanced across a little silk scarf painting kit and received my eureka. Here was an art form that was learnable and expressive. It required few materials, was lightweight and unbreakable, and could be art or accessory. It didn't compete with Haitian folk paintings flooding outside tourist markets. And best of all, scarves were something Haitian women wore every day. Chris and I taught ourselves the technique and began an experiment on her back porch with Venez, Bernice, Maquilez, Lycienne, Kenya, a mix of mothers and soon-to-be mothers. With no art in their lives, we realized the women didn't know how to draw, and we had to start from scratch with paper and pencils, urging the group to get past timid flower shapes, trying to get them to be bold, to draw what they knew. I took their drawings and reconfigured them into patterns and colors that worked on a scarf, and began integrating my own designs into the mix. This was a process that would sharpen their eyes through the years. Now they tell me what colors and styles are best. I took home the first batch of scarves in a backpack. On the plane, the person next to me asked what I did in Haiti, so I opened the pack to show her and sold $600 worth of silk scarves to rows of fascinated passengers. Yeah. I took that as a good sign. So back in Matanois, news of a group of women getting paid to paint on silk traveled fast. The pressure from other women to join in was intense. Every day, even now, a shy woman or her young messenger child will press a folded note into our hands telling her grueling story of poverty and looking for a place in the group. The problem was, our market had not grown big enough to take on more artists. If we accumulated more scarves than we could sell, we couldn't pay those who made them. So we had to look the askers in the eyes and say, no, not yet. One solution seemed to be to begin other kinds of artisan products. Some women had been trained for factory work to sew, embroider, and bead. I knew simple techniques for making prints and cards. The Art Center, now a spreading compound thanks to a lucky grant, expanded from 6 to 43 people of varying talent. From a simple back porch experiment, we had grown over five years to a local institution that required regulations and repairs, managers and equipment, many more raw materials to buy and bring, better bookkeeping, and a much larger audience to court. It was and continues to be learning curve 101 for all of us. Meanwhile, the artist skills grew. They named themselves Artistes Femmes Matinois. In Creole, that's Women Artists of Matinois. Their kids were getting educated. They developed their own grassroots theater. They volunteered to cook food at the school so kids could have at least one meal a day. They were invited to take part in village-wide decisions, and what they said mattered. There's no messing with the Artiste Femme. Look at her. She picks me up. Every time I get to Haiti, she picks me up and lifts me off the ground. Along with their work, their sense of themselves changed. And something else was gained. Country poverty, though dire, is different than city poverty. Less violent, less crushing, more accepting. Still, dependent on a vanishing ecology, hungry, out of touch with the world, neglected by their nation, rural people leave in droves or sacrifice their children to the false lure of work in a dark and labyrinthian city. One of our main goals is to keep families from feeling compelled to leave Matinois to seek a living in a Port-au-Prince that would swallow them whole. This is no metaphor. Unlike their relatives in the city, the artists and their families survived the coming earthquake. It damaged their homes and their psyches, but it didn't destroy them. And that was because their work allowed them to remain in their community. Vanez died from complications from a chronic migraine-inducing sinus infection that eventually robbed her of her sight, her teeth, her body, her voice, her strength, and her life. People came from all over to honor her beautiful spirit. After Vanez's internment and the traditional week-long party with music, food, dancing, and dominoes, the time came for the artists to consider if they wanted to replace their old friend. Vanez had been the group's manager and leader. She kept track of their work, distributed their pay, corrected their mistakes. They could replace her, but less silk artists meant more work and more money for the living. But in the end, the artists wanted Vanez's 2 elder daughters to inherit her place. There they are. I was ambivalent. Many others had been waiting in the wings. But down through every country's history, skills were passed from mother to daughter. It's that very transference that weaves the future of artists and families together. Maybe it will happen that way. This journey has been astonishing, but not easy. I'm an artist, not an entrepreneur, and without help from so many others, from the artists to my colleague Ariel Barek to Rising International, we would have long ago been eaten by the wind, just like so many projects started in Haiti. The little folded notes keep coming. cementing our determination to keep art matinois alive until someday the community achieves the sustainability of one of those villages in Mexico. With visionaries like Rising International, the Matinois artists join forces with a global movement, as opposite as rich and poor, and as spiritually interdependent, acting to help disenfranchised women forge a future through their arts. The artistes femmes need to know this, that there are other women artisans all over the world with the same problems, same goals, same help, that they are, if anything, not alone. Thank you. Ha ha ha.